Their shock and anger against the government of Qatar as the nation that is currently hosting the FIFA World Cup has invited Hindu beta Zakir Naik to give religious sermons. Remember, he's been living in exile in Malaysia since 2017 as he faces charges of propagating hate and inciting terrorism. Remember, the same country that once raised its voice over remarks against the Prophet and preached India is now rolling out a red carpet for Zakir Naik, a controversial Islamic preacher infamous for his anti-Hindu speeches. Let's remind you why Qatar's invitation to Zakir Naik is problematic.
But there are other scholars like Sheikh Salman Auda, he is mashallah one of the great scholars of this time. He says that if under normal circumstances it's haram. But if the situation demands, like in Palestine, every day they are being killed and thousands are being killed throughout the year. So it is rather that they have to fight in self-defense, and if they know that they use an attack in which the chances of dying are there, and if they really cause a damage to the opponent, as a last resort, with guidance from a scholar who has not that one individual person gets up in the night and says, okay, fine, I'll go out. So with guidance of the Quran and Sunnah, as a last resort, it can be used. As a last resort, it can be used, and I do agree with Sheikh Salman Auda. Hope that answers the question.
सिर्फ एक ही सही दिन है, वो है इस्लाम. और अल्लाह ताला फरमाते हैं सूरह इमरान सूरह नंबर 3 आयत नंबर 85 में कि इस्लाम के अलावा कोई भी दिगर मज़हब अल्लाह सुब्हानहू व तआला कबूल नहीं करेंगे. तो दीन के मामले में हम जानते हैं इस्लाम ही सिर्फ सही दीन है, इसीलिए हम दूसरे दीन का प्रोपगेशन अलाउ नहीं करते. जहां तक कि दूसरा सवाल है कि हम चर्च बनाने देंगे या टेम्पल बनाने देंगे, जब दीन ही गलत है और चर्च में ईसा अलैहिस्सलाम को पूजना गलत है, बुत परस्ती गलत है, इसीलिए हम गलत चीज हमारे मुल्क में अलाउ नहीं करेंगे.
If he's on the truth, if he's fighting the enemies of Islam, I'm for him. If he's terrorizing America, the terrorist, biggest terrorist, I'm with him. Every Muslim should be a terrorist.
The man you just heard had his organization banned in 2016 for promoting hate and extolling terrorists in his speeches. He's also accused of promoting forcible conversion of youth to Islam. But even as such hate gets a global stage today, the ecosystem that's known for its selective outrage refuses to condemn the government of Qatar today.
ये तो कतर की एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन बताएगी कि उन्होंने आखिर क्यों किया, क्योंकि ना तो इंडियन टीम वहां खेल रही है और ना हमारा उससे कोई लेना देना है. हम तो ये बता सकते हैं कि बाबा भीमराव अंबेडकर साहब के संविधान की अवहेलना कौन कौन कर रहा है, उसका नाम भी बता देंगे, उसका काम भी बता देंगे.
अब ये तो एक पॉलिटिकल इशू है कि कतर देगा उसको या नहीं देगा, मगर अगर उनको उसको बुलाया है और वो लेजिटिमेट रीज़न से अपना वीज़ा पासपोर्ट सब उनके पास है, उसके बिना के ऊपर ट्रैवल कर सकते हैं, तो सरकार एट गवर्नमेंट लेवल उनके साथ बात करे अगर उनको तकलीफ है.
मुझे क्या कहना होगा, मैं तो फुटबॉल देख रहा हूँ. जो लोग जाकिर नायक को देख रहे हैं वो देखते रहे, हम फुटबॉल देख रहे हैं.
And the BJP is hit out at Congress, saying that, remember, Congress leader Digvijay Singh had praised Zakir Naik in the past.
There are two things. Just किसी ने कंडेम नहीं किया है, मौन धारण किया है. और संस्कृत की प्रख्यात कहावत है, मौनम स्वीकृति लक्षणम, यानी मौन स्वीकृति का लक्षण होता है, तो उसको मौन समर्थन दिया है. जाकिर नाइक के विषय में क्या कहा जाए, वो तो कांग्रेस के बड़े नेता दिग्विजय सिंह जी एलानिया पब्लिक मंच से शांति का मसीहा कह चुके हैं और आज तक उसके लिए भी रिग्रेट नहीं किया है. तो वो कांग्रेस का असली चेहरा, कि जो आतंकवाद की विचारधारा को पोषित करने वाला व्यक्ति जिसे शांति का मसीहा नजर आता हो, यह कांग्रेस का असली चेहरा.
Now, several voices have condemned the Qatari government for the invitation to the known Hindu beta and terror sympathizer, but some continue to back him nevertheless.
We hardly play, we have nothing to do with football, but he's playing a game much bigger than football. He's playing football with the other communities, with other religions. We know his speeches, he has just given some quotes, there are more to it, and we can't stop that. But my point is larger. One is, of course, a personal grudge of creating huge unrest in India, using Qatar using their media arm, Al Jazeera, spreading hate about Hindus, about Nupur Sharma. My larger question is this international football competition or is it Islamic football competition? Are you supposed to preach religion when the global community comes together, and that too from a person who hates every other religion?
Let's take this across to our guest. Joining us with us is Vikas Saraswat, columnist of Swaraj. Endorsing author is with us. Sajjad Kargili, political analyst, is with us. But let me first and foremost go across to Bilal Khan, a lawyer and political analyst, joining us here in our studio. Bilal Khan, what can justify a person like Zakir Naik, somebody who's wanted by the government of India, somebody who is in fact not even being able to step down on Indian soil, somebody who propagates the use of violence in such a brazen manner? Why would Qatar want to welcome such a person?
फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आई सेड ये जितना भी ड्रामा क्रिएटेड किया जा रहा है बीजेपी के लीडर्स के, अभी हमने बयानात देके जो वो बोल रहे हैं, वो आप सवाल करिए ना, कतर की गवर्नमेंट ने उनको क्यों इनवाइट किया? वहाँ एक बहुत ज़बरदस्त फुटबॉल का मैच देखने के लिए लोग जा रहे हैं, वहाँ इंटरटेनमेंट की बात हो रही है, वहाँ हम लोग जो है एक गेम को
एंटरटेनर है जाकिर नाइक।
नहीं, जाकिर नाइक को
वो हेट स्पीचेस एंटरटेनमेंट के लिए देते हैं।
हेट स्पीचेस जाकिर नाइक दे रहे हैं। हिंदुस्तान से इसका क्या लेना देना, मुझे ये समझ में नहीं आ रहा।
हिंदुस्तान से लेना देना ये है,
हिंदुस्तान का लेना देना नहीं, वहाँ तो ऑलरेडी वो बैन है ना हिंदुस्तान में।
हाँ, हिंदुस्तान में बैन है, लेकिन हम चाहेंगे
अगर कोई मैसेज दे रहा है वहाँ कोई क्रिकेट की टीम नहीं जा रही हमारे देश की,
क्या लेना देना? मैं बताता हूँ आपको क्या लेना देना ये है कि जो एक आदमी वांटेड है इंडिया में, अगर उसको दूसरा देश कहीं न्योता देती है और वो नॉन बेटर है हिंदूज का और दूसरे धर्मों का, ईसाइयों के खिलाफ भी उन्होंने अभी जो आपत्तिजनक स्टेटमेंट्स दी है, उसके सब कुछ जानते हुए कतार क्यों इनवाइट कर रही है? सीधा सवाल है।
नहीं, सीधा सवाल तो है, बिल्कुल राइट। मैं ये कह रहा हूं कि हमारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री जो है नरेंद्र मोदी बड़े ताकतवर इंसान है, वो जाके एक बार बात करके बैन करा दे, कैंसिल करा दे। अगर उनको इन्विटेशन आया है, उनके लिए कारपेट बिछाए जा रहे हैं, वेलकमिंग किया जा रहा है, तो हमारी गवर्नमेंट इतनी मजबूत है, बात करे और जो है उसको बैन करा दे कि हिंदुस्तान में वांटेड है। लेकिन इसको इशू यहां बनाने के लिए मत करिए। मुझे मालूम है राजनीति करने के लिए गुजरात के अंदर इलेक्शन, हिमाचल के अंदर से वहां से ये हो जाएगा, जाकिर नाइक को ठीक है तरीके से कर दे। देखिए देश में शांति बनी हुई है,
ओके, आपको लगता है राजनीति हो रही है?
इसके अलावा भी प्लीज उसको आगे फॉरवर्ड होना पड़ेगा।
जाकिर नाइक की बात हो रही है सर, मंदिर मस्जिद की कोई बात नहीं हो रही। लेट्स क्विकली ब्रिंग इन आरएसएन सिंह। यहाँ राजनीति हो रही है। Mr. Bilal Khan sees politics and he says that why does the government not take it up diplomatically? Your response to that, Arsen Singh?
No, I hope this gentleman is aware that there are only two countries, Wahhabi countries in the world. One is Saudi Arabia and the other is Qatar. And Qatar is, you know, it's got 560 kilometers of coastline, and it shares its borders only with one country, that is Saudi Arabia, that is 60 kilometers, right? So now what has happened is that somehow there has been a change in posturing and approach towards Wahhabism as far as the Saudi leadership is concerned. Prince Salman has repudiated Hadith completely. He says that he doesn't believe in Hadith. He has said so many. He has also talked of revision of Quran. So naturally now what Qatar is trying to do is that it is through this global event, it is trying to give a global messaging that, you know, they are now the custodian of Wahhabi Islam.
Salman.
Let him make his point, so nobody interrupted you. Let him make his point.
There are any number of adherents of Wahhabi Islam, including this gentleman. Deoband is also not very far from, you know, in their theological theological precepts, they are not very different from Wahhabism. So I can understand you know, that where is the politics in this? We are talking about a global event. Will it not promote terrorism? Tell me, here is a man who has justified sex slaves, by the way. Here is a man who has justified nikah halala, right? Here is a man who justified talaq-e-biddat, right? Here is a man you have just shown on your program who justifies the killing of kafirs. Here is a man who says that no, in a Islamic country, no other religion can be allowed to be practiced. And this gentleman is saying that it is politics instead of condemning Zakir Naik.
Can I come?
Yeah.
Will the gentleman also say, will he also justify sex slaves? Will he also
क्लियर वर्ड्स में करना चाहता हूँ कि इस्लाम जो है वो कोई कतर से नहीं चलता, वो हमारे कुरान और हदीस के बेस पे चलता है,
तो
उसमें होगा जाकिर नायक का हमने
है?
तो इंडिविजुअल इंसान जाकिर नायक जो हमारे देश का दुश्मन है, जो हमारे देश के लिए वांटेड है,
तो
हमने उसको सपोर्ट नहीं किया। लेकिन हर चीज को आप
सपोर्ट नहीं करेगा, कंडेम नहीं कर रहे हैं आप।
नहीं, मैं क्या
आप बोलिए ना, गलत है।
बात करिए ना, जाके सरकार बात करेगी, हमारी मजबूत सरकार है, बात करिए, उसको कराइए बैन, नहीं कराएंगे, लेकिन उसी बेस पे हिंदुस्तान में बयानबाजी कराते रहेंगे, हेट स्पीचेस देते रहेंगे, देश में हिंदू मुस्लिम की टेंशन पैदा करेंगे। जानता हूं होल पॉलिटिक्स बीजेपी।
बिलाल खान जी, आपको बोलने में क्या एतराज है? आपको कंडेम करने में क्या एतराज है? आप क्यों हिचकिचा रहे हैं?
देखिए,
ये बताइए ना।
इसलिए
आप ओपनली बोलिए कि गलत है।
राजनीति हो रही, मैं क्यों कंडेम करूं? मैं नहीं करूंगा भाई, मैं नहीं कर सकता।
राजनेता दिख रहे हैं इस पैनल पे?
आप बिल्कुल दिख रहे हैं।
कौन राजनेता है?
तो बयानबाजी कौन करे था? अभी 5 मिनट पहले
कोई भी यहाँ पे पार्टी के प्रवक्ता नहीं है।
राज्यसभा एमपी थे, क्या कहा उन्होंने अभी इस तरीके से?
Let me quickly bring in others. Once again, Bilal Khan, there may be politics around it, but the point is Zakir Khan is a person whose statements are entirely condemnable. Let me bring in Sajjad Kargili and ask him this point. Sajjad Kargili, why is it so difficult to come out and outrightly condemn what Zakir Naik says or does? Why is it so difficult? And why do we have people who are, still dithering, despite the kind of extremely mind-bogglingly, sort of medieval statements that this individual is making, something that is completely unacceptable on grounds of hate that he's spraying for other religions, and also the use of violence, which is just not acceptable in any constitutional democracy like ours. Mr. Kargili, I think you'll have to unmute yourself, but before you come into this, let me quickly bring in our other panelist, Vikas Saraswat. Vikas Saraswat, the question that many are asking is this, and in fact, Mr. Bilal Khan also seems to have doubts as to why the government is not acting, but the larger question is, why are we seeing people soft pedaling on individuals like Zakir Naik? And is that tenable at all after positions that have been taken by Qatar and several other countries to comments that have been made over here in India, which they say affects religious sentiments? What about Mr. Zakir Naik? Does he not affect or offend religious sentiments through the number of statements that he has made time and again over the years?
Madhav, firstly, all these gentlemen know they make comments about Israel, they will make comments about Chechnya, America, Europe, all the places. No, they have a point of view on everything. Only when it comes to Zakir Naik and Qatar inviting him, they will not speak. Then it becomes a Qatari matter. But frankly, no, I'm a bit surprised why people are. Give me a minute, yaar. I have been quiet. I have listened to you.
We came to you, but your audio was not full. Let him make his point. I'll come back to you after this. Mr. Kargili, hold on to your thoughts. I'm coming to you, Mr. Sajjad Kargili. Please hold on to your thoughts. Vikas Saraswat.
Let me make my point and then he can make his point. No? So, Madhav, I am frankly surprised why people are so shocked by Qatar inviting Zakir Naik. See, any country will showcase its culture and its values whenever an event like this happens there. Qatar is showing its values, its culture, which is Islamism. I'm not saying Islam, I'm saying Islamism. Qatar is the biggest backer of all the terror organizations, as Mr. Arasan Singh was saying just now. The US Treasury has accused these people of harboring the two topmost financiers of Al-Qaeda. Okay, the main conspirator of 9/11, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, was residing very freely in Qatar until he was arrested. As a country, Qatar has supported Hamas. It has supported Muslim Brotherhood openly. Its state-funded broadcaster Al Jazeera has been accused of supporting the Houthi rebels. Okay, German Development Minister Gerd Müller, he has accused Qataris of financing ISIS. And a very, very interesting thing, there was a gentleman called Al Nuyami. He was a former president of Qatar Football Association. Qatar Football Association. This guy has been accused of funding several terror outfits for so many years.
Okay.
See, the real scandal is not Zakir Naik being invited to Qatar. The real scandal is actually Qatar being allowed to host a Football World Cup.
All right. Sajjad Kargili, respond to that. There's no surprises according to Mr. Vikas Saraswat. He says it is no surprise to him given the track record of those associated with football and associated with Qatar who have in fact been promoting such radical elements in the past. Respond to that, Sajjad Kargili.
Listen, personally, I don't like his views on Islam, Zakir Naik's views on Islam. His prejudices because he called the bloody tyrant Yazid as Raziullah anhu, which is not acceptable for all. Even among the Muslims also there are some controversies he has created. But this question must be asked by the government of India to the Qatari government, why they are inviting Zakir Naik in Qatar. BJP is the only government which has strong relations with the Arab world, particularly Saudi Arabia, Bahrain and Qatar. and it was our Prime Minister who received medals from Bahrain and Qatar, Bahrain and Saudis.
Well, sir,
now,
I will only say this.
Two days ago, on 29th
I'm sorry, Mr.
October,
I'm cutting you short, but we're completely out of time. There's some breaking news coming in. Many will say it takes two hands to clap. The other side must also equally be sensitive to views pertaining to religion if they are concerned about views that emanate here from India. But